is there a link between happiness and working hours? And the answer is yes, there is. It's a really bad idea to work long hours. Your working hours should not be high in total. Now, obviously they're going to vary, and sometimes you have to stay on late if you're asked to, or if there's an important project and you're needed. That's fine, but you mustn't work long hours on average. The main reason for this is that you don't achieve any more by working those extra hours. What happens is that you just become a bit less efficient, because once long hours become a habit, you end up pacing yourself for the longer day. If there's a time waster happening, like you're getting lots of interruptions or you're stuck in a boring meeting, what you tend to do is you think, well, it doesn't really matter because I'll just stay on late and I'll finish that project at home in the evening, or I'll come in at the weekend and finish it. So you allow bad things to happen during your day because you've got these extra hours as a safety buffer. So if you work longer hours, you just become less efficient and you achieve less. And all that happens is that you lose out on your personal life. So let's suppose you only get 1 hour in the evening normally to do what you want to do. Staying on late for half an hour, just half an hour, has reduced your personal time from a whole hour to half an hour. That's all you've got left now. So you've halved your personal life just by staying on late by half an hour. So staying on late is quite a big crime. But remember that sometimes you'll have to, of course. I'm talking about it mustn't become a habit. Now you may say, well, what does it matter if I have less time at home? And the thing about this is that you don't pay a happiness price immediately. If you stay on late and you just deal with one extra thing for half an hour, you don't pay any price to start with. Maybe you don't see your kids that evening, maybe it doesn't matter. But the point is you will pay the price of regret later. Suddenly you'll realise that your kids have grown up and it's too late now to spend time with them in the evenings, and then you'll pay the price of regret. So even if you love your work, I think it's really important to make sure that you get time with your family when they're young, and that you get time with your partner if you have one. But the good news is that you can have both. You can love your work and have plenty of time with your family outside work. Just make sure you keep your working hours under control. But I think it's okay to be flexible. In fact, I think it's our unavoidable future. We're going to have more and more intermingling of home and work. So, for example, I was on holiday in the Lake District and I was halfway up a mountain when my phone rang. So I got my phone out and it was a customer saying, can we book you to come and do some training courses for us? So I said, yeah, I can do that, no problem. I'll put you in the diary. I hung up, put the phone back in my pocket, carried on walking up the mountain. Now, did I do a bad thing answering the phone, letting the phone intrude onto my walk up that mountain? The answer is no, I don't think so. The great thing was that the person at the other end thought I was in my office. So I was actually halfway up a mountain in the Lake District. That's a much better place to be. So if you can have more time going up mountains and still provide a service to your customers, then that's a result, isn't it? And I think that's bound to happen. Inevitably, we're going to have phone calls coming in, emails coming in. We'll probably have some sort of head-up display on our glasses where texts come past. It's going to happen. So trying to separate home from work, I don't think will ever work. Now, if you hate your work so much that you can't bear to think about it when you're on holiday, then I think it's time to look for a different type of work. But I was quite happy to have that phone call coming in. It was a good news phone call. It was not a problem. So I think some sort of mixing of time is bound to happen. And of course, working from home is only going to increase as well. So not only will the time get blurred between the day and the evening, and it'll get blurred between holidays and working time, but also our location of work is going to get blurred. So you'll probably end up working from home for, let's say, 1 or 2 days a week. And that's great because that's 1 or 2 days when you don't have to commute. So you save the time and the stress. That's an increase of happiness. But also, if you can still go to work for 1 or 2 days a week, you can still feel part of the team. You can still keep in contact with everybody and have those team bonds still there. So I personally think that working partly from home is probably the best way to do it. You can have the best of both. And if you don't work from home at all at the moment, you might want to think, would that suit me? You might want to think about how it would work. And if you think it would work well, you could suggest it to your boss. And then you could get a bit more time at home, a bit more flexibility, and a bit less commuting. So to sum this up then, I think it's really important to make sure that you get a good mixture of work and home, that you enjoy your work, but you also get plenty of time at home, whether it's with kids or partner, or even before you have kids, a chance to travel and see the the world and to indulge in all your hobbies, go mountain biking, play in a band, all the sorts of things that you might not have time for once kids come along. So it's really important to get that balance right between home and work. And I'm not saying work is bad. We need to enjoy and love our work, but also have plenty of time for home. So the key is to make sure that you've got plenty of time for each. Don't worry about them interweaving a bit though, because that's going to happen. And as long as each of them has enough time, as long as you have plenty of time to go up the mountains in the Lake District, as well as answering your phone, then you can have your cake and eat it, and you can get maximum happiness from both.